It's a new matchup, and it's filled with Zerg. In the top right of Crimson Court, it is Wayne for Starlight Twinkle. And in the bottom left, still on Team Liquid, he is Elazer. We got ourselves a potentially action-packed ZVZ. As both players are very well known for their aggression. And ZVZ basically encourages aggression. And the most recent form of ZVZ, when you do actually get to catch them, it's still a rather rare matchup, is aggression. It is actually even more so than I think there was a phase where it was still a very volatile, early pools abound, or cheeky all-ins everywhere. But there were a decent amount of games where you actually had, 3 base, safety baneling nest, evolution chamber +1 missile, and then the roaches. And it might still get kind of action at that point. Doesn't always go into vipers, but that was happening a while. And then at some point in the last year and a half, I suppose, DVZ has gotten to be a lot of 3 hatch, sure, but then into a roach warren immediately and for roach pushes or defense. In this game, we have Wayne going for a pool first. He is getting a hatchery, so this is not completely all in, but this does require some damage being done. Elazer obviously going to scout it with an overlord right to the center of the map. Crimson Court kind of short, kind of skinny. Going to encourage big swings of momentum at the very least. But right now, it's all about whether or not Wayne can get a couple of drone kills. He should not be able to get the hatchery. Spawning pool of Elazer is going to finish momentarily. This is where you have to pull the drones, buy some time, make the lings decide what they actually want to do, and then wait for your lings to pop. It is known how to defend against this, but the actual execution can still go very, very poorly. Already taking some drone hits just by mineral walking. 1 drone goes down. Hatchery about less than half health. 2 drones are down. 3 drones are down. 4 drones absolutely could fall. There it is. Ling's getting caught as well. So far, very, very not good for Elazer, I gotta say. Oh my god, it's actually kind of a disaster. Oh, Lord baby Jesus. That is 8 drones. And a 9th almost went down. No, a 9th did go down. A 10th almost went down. Oh, that is bad mojo. Not bad Moha, who is a player, but it is bad mojo. Elazer was looking to actually lose probably at most 4 drones. At most. And even then you're like, well, maybe you could have done better. That was feisty. It is a map that has a 3-second less average rush distance. I think this is 32 compared to 35 or 36, but that does add a little more pepper to the push. Not sure that was the best micro we've ever seen. Having the drones mineral walk down to this gave him a lot of pot shots from the lings. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how that was supposed to go better. I'm not a good enough Zerg to do that, but I can tell you that that was too much drone damage. Because now, you have a situation in which Wayne does have a superior drone economy, and in a very, very ideal scenario, they both go to each other's overlords, by the way. In a very ideal scenario, you actually come out even ahead if you can defend well. Elazer is gonna go ahead and add on drone. He might even try and skip the baneling nest. Wayne is actually gonna go for one, and he's kind of hiding it as well. You can obviously put the baneling nest on the front and still go for a baneling attack, but kind of hiding it might make Elazer think, oh, he's also trying to be greedy post early pool. Oh, that's 100% not the case. This is no 3rd hatch. That's something Elazer can actually scout. Technically, he doesn't know about this base. This is actually his first check on the non-drone, non-gold mineral mined. This has to be an all-in then. That should have been enough. Elazer immediately starting up lings, has started up more, but he's supply blocked. That little second of difference could be huge. Queen's getting ready to pull the fronts, but I'm afraid this 3rd hatchery just cannot happen. No banelings available for Elazer, who did not grab a baneling nest. At the very least, he actually grabbed speed, but that's only going to do so much. Micro's going to have to be super on point, and we already saw that it wasn't with the drone defense. Spinecrawler's coming down for some extra safety. Wayne actually grabbing a 3rd hatch behind this, only to find some success, and already finding lots. That is going to be game. Wayne with a quick and easy 1-0 start to this best of 3. Mirror matchups are killer for some of the fan favorites. It is, as I've been saying and trying to explain for the last couple of series, it is difficult to place where Elazer is because he's always been a kind of erratic player. Like, he has really high peaks, but then he'll also have a supply block that lasts 5 minutes, and you're like, well... And he occasionally is not playing StarCraft 2 when he is in the unknown, when he's doing other things. He's actually not playing StarCraft 2. This has been talked about a little bit amongst the scene. Sometimes he is. Sometimes he's just not streaming and he's not playing in tournaments, but he's actually hardcore practicing. And sometimes he's not. So it is really difficult to say where Elazer is. As far as I know about Wayne, he's actually pretty consistent. And I definitely think this is appropriate. In the top left, he is Wayne. Bottom right, it is Elazer. Yeah, Wayne's consistent in terms of how often he plays StarCraft 2, from what I can tell. He plays it a lot. He practices a lot. He does seem very hungry to improve. And that's something that Elazer has occasionally been missing. You know, I remember a couple of training camps leading up to like a Katowice where Elazer was as motivated as you would expect. But other times... you know, not even going to a training camp, you know, or something like that. So Wayne, you know, I'm not going to say he deserves to win. That's not true. I have no idea what Elazer's been doing the last couple of months. But Wayne has keyed in on a weakness. And I do not think you can blame him. Despite it being now a more average rush distance map, it's just much bigger, he is still going to go for an attack. And it is going to be with gas. After. I mean, it's not a full all-in. It's not going to be fooling the drones and getting the spine crawlers up, which, I don't know, might have worked. Elazer doesn't do any of the spawning pools in front by the looks of things. But he is nonetheless going to go for an early pool. He's going to have speedy speed right behind it. So that Elazer doesn't get any tech advantage. Should he defend this better? That is the question. Can he defend this better than last game? Because 9 drones is actually kind of insane. Really, again, I don't want to beat him when he's down, but that's a Elazer would also be very unhappy with his performance. This is a little bit better, believe it or not. He stacks to the middle, like the back mineral, which is fine. The problem last game, I would say, is that like almost all of his drones were in the orange even before this. It still looks kind of ugly, though. Now we have a lot of red. Regen kicks in, puts him back in the orange, but still a lot of lings here from Wayne. His speed starts much faster as Elazer actually pulled out of gas. Understandable. He needs as many lings as possible. And he's going to have to replace some drones. And queens obviously also need to be built, but while that is understandable, it is still the point that, like, you are going to be much further behind on that speed. Only 3 drones went down. Definitely a more successful defense, 100%. That's kind of the average, I would say, of the lost drones in an early pool attack. You can technically do better, and you can do a lot worse, but it's hard to do much better than that. The problem is that speed that I'm talking about. Wayne does lose an Overlord, and that is just a simple mistake from him, no doubt about that. But his speed's going to kick in 7 seconds, and Elazer made a pretty bad mistake here. He actually sent all of his lings he had produced across the map to then be surrounded and killed immediately. Not the best start. Wayne is going to go for a follow-up attack. Elazer could have seen that if he had only sent over 4 lings instead of the 8 or 10 or whatever that he lost. And now he has to make a defense happen once more with slightly less lings than he would like. He does have queens on his side, and maybe those drones get pulled in as well. They kind of have to. Wayne is entirely all in, so the drones could lose quite a few of their lives. For the greater good. And right now, we're actually seeing a much better defense. Whoops-a-daisy. That's actually not that big of a deal, I think. Well, oh god, no, there's actually nothing in here. Ah! Yeah, speed finishes it for Elazer at the pretty much very appropriate time, because if these were still slowlings chasing, a couple of these drones would have been focus fired. That still would not have been enough. We're talking about 12 drones to 18. Wayne needed to kill at least 6 more drones. Then he would be at a 1 queen disadvantage, but even on workers. And I think that could have been acceptable. But without killing those additional 6 workers, it is not acceptable. Wayne not going to get to the 1-2 punch like last game to get that easy win. And Elazer is showing that first game was just a gaffe. It happens. You know, if you could get a mulligan in StarCraft 2, that's where you would have gone ahead and used it. Not going to happen. And with Elazer having everything plus the defensive advantage, pretty sure this is going to be a 1-1. Not even an advantageous surround. Queens do start to fall. There's a little more question if Lings can get into every nook and cranny. And actually, wait a second. 25 Lings to just 9 here. Actually, hold on. I might have called this too soon. Wayne with a lot more army than Elazer currently. The Queens are dead. The Spinecrawler can't help the main. And the drones don't have anything to support them when they pull in to face the Lings. Oh, God, no. How did this all go wrong so quickly? Elazer built extra drones. Is really what hurts. He built, I believe, 4 or 5 extra drones, and I was talking about how all-in Wayne was. He then proceeds to lose all the drones that he made. And that is fine, because he's still ahead by 7, as long as he can muster a defense. And thank goodness, 2 more Queens are on the way. That is going to be enough with a combination of Lings trickling out to actually keep Elazer in the game. And because he made 5 drones and then lost 6, we're still in the situation where Wayne is still dying. Hatchery actually becomes targetable, though. And hold on here. Wayne seeing an opportunity to still make this a game. Going to go for the hatchery. Going to find the kill. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Here I am hyper-focusing horse blinders on things that are important, yes, but Wayne, unfortunately, has a little bit more of a flexible brain than me and actually realized, hey, that hatchery's kind of low. I was half expecting a tap out when the Lings started to really dwindle for the red Zerg, and then, oh yeah, the hatchery. Oh yeah, that's a good thing to kill. And that puts Elazer in a very tricky position, because not only does he no longer have an economic advantage, but he also has a larva problem. So he has plenty of queens and a Spinecrawler to defend the hatchery when it's back up and running. Fantastic. He actually, if he plays this right, could still actually be ahead. Well, no, I'm not going to say ahead, but he could still obviously play the game out. Because if he just drones alongside Wayne, there will be a gap of which the mineral income is maybe favorable to Wayne, but we actually can look, thanks to our amazing overlay that actually has the numbers. You can see, even without that hatchery up and running, Elazer is barely beating out Wayne. That is until Wayne actually just straight up had more drones. So here you go in the overall graph. You know, there's peaks and valleys and whatnot, but Elazer was still winning. So Elazer is not going to continue droning is the thing. So he is going to go for an attack. Now, this is where that larva could be a problem. Wayne has been injecting consistently. Elazer, not so much. But here we go. Banelings form for one person, not for the other. 6 Banelings waddling all in here. Going to split a little bit. Goes for the larva, I believe, on purpose, as well as the drones. Trades out 2 for 2 otherwise. 11 drones go down for Wayne. He's now down by 4, but he's got Banelings. He's got Lings. He has the defense up. And it looks like this will not end the game one way or the other. Elazer goes back into droning to try and take advantage of the lead that he has. And remember, he has queens, although he did seem to lose one at some point. And he has a Spinecrawler. Oh my god, and that Baneling almost saved the day. Holy JB usage. Wayne with last second defense, or counter micro, I should say. He can only counter micro against us so much because of that Spinecrawler. Oh my god, pay attention. Oh my god, pay attention. Wayne's counterattack, not going to find any success. He simply is behind on the drones. Forces Elazer to eventually make Lings. But very, very crucially, there were drones fit in while Elazer prepped the defense. And that is going to put Elazer solidly in the lead. No question marks here. No, well, you know, Wayne has the injects and the drones are mining better. Nope, Elazer is straight up ahead by a incredible amount, actually. Up now, going to be up by 12 drones with these last 2. I would advise, if I could shout through the void, hey, maybe stop making drones. But he is going to continue making drones. Wayne's going to just go for the all-in, because what else can he really do? This is too early on in the game and too far behind to try and say I could maybe take advantage of defense advantage, and try and play a macro game into roaches. That is just not an option. Doubling down on an all-in, tripling down, quadrupling, wherever we're at this point is the only option. And Wayne is pretty good at doing that. He's going to try and circumvent the banelings of his opponent. So far, not working out, however. Queens actually take a very forward stance. Could have gotten surrounded, but with the banelings protecting them, everyone is worried. It was mutually beneficial move outs. The banelings protect the queens. Queens protect the banelings. It's going to happen once more here again. Banelings of Wayne do crash on through. They're looking for those big shots. Want to take rid of the banelings of his opponent. Not going to take out any of them. Or all of them, sorry. 2 are still left over. Oh, and from the backside! I don't know what happened there. But I see all of Wayne's lings dead. GG's. Elazer will successfully hold against the pool first. And then, crucially, read a very complicated game to actually win it, because that got weird. That got very, very weird.
Resubscription received.
Now we're all types of tied up in the game. We got ourselves in the bottom right of Site Delta, Wayne, and on the top left we do have Elazer. Thank you, Octazuka, for the 48-month resub. Just to pass out. Alright, so Wayne, I really agreed wholeheartedly with his second map plan. Even though the map was a little less good for an early pool, Elazer really botched the first game. It's a spade, okay? And Elazer would also call it a spade. But it turns out that was not an actual weakness of his. He, readjusted his brain, got used to the ZVZ, said, okay, yeah, it's Wayne Hadouy. Okay, and his fingies got warmed up, and he was able to micro a lot better in game 2. And then showed all the classic signs of a superstar Zerg, I think, which is reading a very complicated game as well as possible. The inexperienced Zerg player might, especially in a stressful qualifier, they might have lost the hatchery like Elazer did and go, wow, oh my god, I can't believe I lost this game. This was won by me. What a throw. And then they tap out. If Idra was still playing the game, that's exactly what he would have done. But Elazer has enough experience, particularly in those types of games, actually. I know Elazer's been on the defense, and I've been talking about him not doing well and then doing great. Overall, Elazer does the exact same things Wayne does a lot of the time. So he not only knows what it's like to be on the receiving end, he knows what it's like to be on the attacking end. And when you have both of that knowledge, you can assess the situation in a very early, very low eco, very weird matchup because larva and how it works. You can assess the situation and say, actually, I'm really not out of this game. Like 100% I'm not. But if you were panicked and inexperienced and you already weren't confident going up against Wayne anyway, you might have tapped out. Elazer is none of those things, even though the first game looked pretty ugly. So this time around, Wayne doesn't go for an early pool, but that does not mean he won't be aggressive. Ditto on the side of Elazer. I guess in case... Interesting. I guess in case there's a Ling Flood? Smarter than me tell me why that drone is doing that. Does a drone a queen actually block? Not for very long, I tell you that much. So it might have just been for an anti-scout block, which makes sense. Even though he's putting what he's actually doing on the front lines very visibly, to still cause some confusion about like, oh my god, is there a lair in the main? Are you faking me out? Like, what's going on here? It's still pretty useful. And this is going to be an evolution chamber first with a carapace. The issue that I see here, though, is like, it's not on 3 bases. Which is kind of weirding me out a little, because, a lot of the time, as I had actually been describing in the first game, is when you had quote-unquote normal EVZs, triple evolution were already on the way. You would perhaps have that third hatchery down, then build the evolution chamber, then the Roachborn, if that was your ultimate plan. And you could absolutely go for a +1 Carapace all in with all of those things combined together. Wayne starts it faster than his third hatch, which puts Elazer on edge. Elazer then spends 2 extra drones to build the evolution chambers, where he probably only wanted to have this one on the left side. He also cancels the hatchery because straight up he didn't have blings at that time. But that's a real bummer because he actually ended up overreacting, but also underreacting. he walled, but then didn't have lings available to save his third. So Wayne, he does make lings. I'm not saying that he got, that all for free. But he does kind of get the reins on the ZVZ by forcing Elazer to respond to him. And so now Wayne's hatchery is faster. He has 5 more drones, and there's still question marks abound for both players as to their actual intentions. We know, I think, for a fact that Wayne is going to just all in. Elazer continuously making lings seems more likely to, but there starts up +1 missile. So Wayne, he's going to have roaches faster. That does not take a genius to realize. But currently, he doesn't have those roaches. And this is time for Elazer to strike. This is time for him to actually get that revenge on the third hatch. And if he can do that, then Wayne's all-in is really all-in. And he will 100% get it. So both of them having a similar problem. Just seconds before their actual army appears to defend outside of their natural, their third hatch. Time doesn't work out for them. Elazer had it happen first and fastest. So we should see a peak. Yeah, for Wayne. But then it should go back to Elazer. They both are a very similar number of drones. I guess right now they are still mostly just saturating 2 mineral lines. So that's again why we're not seeing this huge jump in income. But again, larva will be a problem if at any point they add more drones to saturate a third. Well, one player can saturate a third and the other player doesn't have one. Easy as that. And there is another cancel because of the drone counts and the mineral amounts. By the way, he didn't actually go for an all-in. Then, we're still seeing that similar income, but the more that you delay that thing, the worse it's going to get. Elazer is just building army and more army. I really thought Wayne was going to be the one to do it, and it really looked like he was, right? The Carapace was finishing, the roaches were on the way, he would have then just swarmed with lings. And instead, gets that third hatch killed. That might have been the trigger to change his mind. As he starts building drones, gets a lair. Now that that's done, he's also started up that +1 missile. He will always have an upgrade lead, but that +1 Carapace first is most often accompanied by an attack. And this time it didn't happen. I suppose such is the way as EVZ, you gotta go with the ebb and flow. And unlike other races, in other matchups, just because you kind of dedicate, your whole build is streamlined to something, doesn't necessarily mean your inability to do it kills you. Unlike if you were, literally streamlining to a 2-base Robo Immortal Sentry all-in, and you couldn't do it, well, you're probably dead. But in ZVZ, it really depends on who's droning and not droning, who's playing cautious and who's playing risky, and all those other things that make it a very interesting but definitely hard to cast for the Zerg noob. Such a rare matchup that I can't help but enjoy it. 13 more roaches are on the way for Elazer. Again, the upgrade advantage going solidly in Wayne's favor as his own +1 finishes. We have Burrow done, I believe, for Wayne, or he was getting it, but then he canceled it, actually. Roach speed finished up for him, and I guess he's going to hold off on Tunneling Claws. Elazer actually had... wait. Hasn't his lair been done for a while? Okay, maybe his roach speed was just simply late. So that's a little awkward. If he plays pretty defensively, I suppose you could argue it's not that big of a deal, but... being able to be in position when you defend and being able to actually micro units because they're speedy is a difference. However, it's all well and good if Wayne does not kill him before speed is done. And that seems to be where we're heading. Wayne still with that upgrade lead, started up his +2 just seconds faster than his opponent. might even have a 2 upgrade lead for a sliver of a moment. Just seriously 10 seconds. But that could be a very important 10 seconds because both players are maxing out, not yet signaling that they are going to transition over into Hydras either. So we're going to see a lot of Roach battles. Both players going for the Overlord drop. I do believe that single Overlord drop has really become the meta you should be doing. Oh, well, this is Banelings, but Banelings or Roaches. It seems like you should be doing this if you're a Zerg player. But then on the side of Wayne, he went for more than 1 Overlord. 3 Overlords full of Roaches heading towards that main base. Of course, this can be seen by Elazer's Overlords, but the problem is still knowing if it's a fake, knowing if it's Banelings, knowing if it's Roaches, and then actually splitting your own army correctly. Things can still go very, very poorly for Elazer despite his know-how. And there are the Roaches harassing the third. Roaches in the main as well. Wayne has that Carapace upgrade lead, and his +2 is about 25 seconds away from finishing. We got Elazer trying to split his army and doing so kind of incorrectly, but don't forget, Elazer also getting some damage done on the other side of the map. Things happening every which way that we look. Wayne's supply actually lower than his opponent's, almost equal on the army supply. Both players with army supply in every direction that we look, so it's really just hard to keep track, but it seems like Elazer has successfully defended the drops and will successfully defend the front attack, partially because of that defender's advantage, right? If not entirely. While doing so, his Lings, which were not going to help on the defense very much, did take out Wayne's third base, just helped to take out 14 drones instead of just, I think, the 8 they had previously. Wayne's not done, of course. More Roaches trying to get more drone damage, more attacks on the front lines. He still has the upgrade advantage with the Carapace, and his Ravager count is rather good. 10 Ravagers for Wayne to 4 for Elazer. Elazer has that 4th base, but when it comes to what can actually mine, it's not too different. Wayne going to go for the YOLO maneuver, just rush on in, hope that this works out with the +1 Carapace upgrade. Ravager Crows of Biles hitting every which way, but of course Wayne has more. Elazer doing more micromanaging of his units. Might have missed out on a couple of shots, but it looks like the Defender's advantage is going to kick in. Here come more reinforcements. The Ravagers of Wayne now very, very vulnerable. Get completely surrounded, completely obliterated, and Wayne, despite a promising start to this best of 3, looks to be falling out to Elazer. Elazer, ever the question mark, but when he comes into these tournaments, he is usually one of the best. Wayne is in a whole ton of trouble. Obviously feeling very, very committed to the attack after losing his 4th base. Thought that he could work things out. No doubt hoped that Carapace upgrade is going to impact the battles more than it actually did. Wayne's not going to tap out as it is your last life. There is no double elimination. There is no secondary qualifier. But his plans have been exhausted. He no longer has a big punch to the front. He no longer has his Overlord drops to the back. He never once, I think, harassed Elazer's 4th base, which might have been a real missed opportunity because there was very little over there. And pushing your Roaches over to that direction would have further split Elazer's front defense. Wayne is going to do what he can do, which is basically get maxed out on Roach Ravager. If he's maxed out, then it's kind of an even game, kind of, as far as the army battles. Being maxed out is the great equalizer. And in fact, if Wayne maxes out on Roaches purely, he will have a higher army supply. But he's not there yet, and Elazer is making his move to end this game. A 7 army supply difference sounds okay for Wayne, but he's going to have trouble splitting his army. Tunneling Claws activated. Wayne knows about it. Tries to send his Roaches over to help out, but that is just so many Tunneling Claws. 50 Roaches to 39. Somehow Wayne did get up to an almost max situation, and that was the only thing he could do. He was attacked shortly before it. He needed to be purely maxed out with a superior army supply to be prepared to deal with all of the run-bys the Tunneling Claws would have tried to go for, and he just wasn't. GG's. Elazer with the 2-1 advances forward in the qualifier.